Oh, it's your girl Tamika L. Sims here. Happy Wednesday. Happy Wednesday, everybody. We are back for another Starve Talk Live, another Stand Tall and Reclaim Victory Everyday Live. That's the acronym if y'all didn't know what it meant. Stand Tall and Reclaim Victory Every Day. So, hello to our Facebook watchers. Hello to those of you that are tuning in on our YouTube live platform. If you're not already following the Starve Talk platform on YouTube, like, why not? What are you doing? So it's at Starve Talk on YouTube if you are already on the platform. For those of you that are already subscribed, know that we appreciate you. Thank you so much for staying connected and staying in tune with us. Like, we getting all the comments and everything on the videos. I almost like what you got to say, okay? So, but we appreciate y'all so much. And if you're not connected to us, even on our Facebook page, make sure that you are liking and following at Starve Talk, even on Facebook and on Instagram. Okay, but we'll come back at the end of the video to make sure that we give you guys all of our platforms as well.
What up, y'all? Hey, it's still that time of day for me, so your boy is still cranking it out. But what's going on? Over here kicking it with my good sister Sims, my good sis. That's actually her word. It's so funny. Her phrase, good sis.
Oh my good sis, yes.
Yeah, that was always
So we got Jason checking in. Jason Hisson.
Yep.
What's up,
Mr.
Jason?
Hisson? How you doing?
How are you, Jason? Thank you so much for tuning in. So, listen, as you guys are coming on, let us know how you're doing. We're in the month of August. Okay, those of us in certain parts of the world, the babies are back in school. Like, parents, are we breathing a sigh of relief? Like, are our refrigerators happy? Right? Is our light bill going? Like, you know what I'm saying? With the babies back in school, they're not eating us out of house and home. That's what my mama used to say, eating us out of house and home. They're not eating us out of house and home. We can relax. We can breathe. They're not in our faces every 2 seconds. Like, what we doing, what we doing, what we doing. I don't know. So we love it. So for those of us that our babies are back in school, we wish them a very successful and prosperous year.
Yeah. So you got this amazing topic.
I do.
Tell them what we talking about.
So today, y'all, we like strike.
Mhm.
That's my rap. You know, they call me Sweet Tea in my past. But
she DJ, she rap, she's juggling.
Look, they don't know my talents and skills. Y'all don't know.
She's juggling.
But so we're talking about workers on strike. Listen, if you have been following the news, and I hope you have. Now, I know the news can very much so be depressing, and sometimes, it puts us in a bad mood. But y'all, we need to watch a little news in the morning when we're getting dressed, getting the babies ready for school. We need to know what's going on in the world. And so this conversation is sort of a culmination of that. It's like, look, what's happening with these major national global businesses, conglomerates, where these workers are unhappy and they are going on strike. So we saw it with the actors and writers in Hollywood, right? We even did a video talking about Netflix creating an AI program manager of a salary up to like $1 million, right? Then we had FedEx, UPS. We are in Las Vegas. There are teachers in Clark County in Las Vegas on strike. I read an article that said an entire police force in Minnesota quit because of pay. Y'all, we got to talk about this. Like, what is going on in our world? So I'm gonna turn it over to Mr. Washington. Like, what's happening in these companies where these workers are being treated unfairly? They're not making the money that they think that they're supposed to make. And as a business owner watching this, I'm concerned. So what are your thoughts?
I mean, I just think it's education at its best. You know what I'm saying? We're teaching people how business really goes. This is my it's like this. Our people are learning right now by watching that how important employees are to businesses. Everybody who's starting their business and feel like they can just do their own thing on their own, and you want to grow to be one of those conglomerates that Tamika's talking about. It's through employees. It's through hiring people. It's not through what you do on your own. But you have to know how to navigate that space. And I've never gotten to those high heights in business. I'm not gonna act like it, but I do understand it, conceptually, and I understand it from a theoretical space. Your employees are extremely important. A lot of times these CEOs of businesses are not touching the day to day of the business. They're not dealing with the clients on the day to day. Sometimes, a lot of times nowadays, the CEOs aren't the founders of the company, so they don't even understand the pulse. They were brought into the company to manage what was already created. And so one of the biggest things that's been created is a workforce, and you have to know how to navigate that space. And I put a video out on my TikTok today, and it was entitled "Yesterday's Wins is not going to help you with tomorrow's wins," right? And so a lot of times these people come in and still trying to do what they were doing in yesteryear, and people have today problems like inflation, like coming out of a global pandemic. Housing prices have changed, and that, like I said, again, going back to inflation, so interest rates is out of this world. Our credit card debt in this country has went to $1 trillion. It's so many things that's affecting that employee of yours. So what you're paying him or her is not what it was cut last year or year before, but it's not cutting it this year. You know what I'm saying? When you start to hear these people having record numbers of earnings and profits, and the employees are a whole lot more knowledgeable than they were years ago. They know a whole lot more than they knew, years past. So they're like, hey, I know that you made this amount of money. I know that everybody's taking in these benefits. People are a whole lot more knowledgeable. You got to understand, when the global pandemic happened, a lot of people just sat in their house and watched the news. Everybody had to watch the news to see what they was telling us to do, right? But then also that became a habit. That becomes a muscle memory, because we sat in the house for 2 or almost 3 months. So sitting in the house that long, watching the news, waiting for them to see what you do, it only takes 30 days to create a habit, right? So you did it for 90, right? And so now these people are still watching the news. They're watching what's going on online, and they know, they are informed. And so they're like, hey, I need to make adjustments, and you're seeing it, like you said, from teachers to, they just talked about the airlines, Southwest, who I'm pissed off about when it comes to the stock market. Southwest just reached an agreement with some of their employees, or pilots and things of that nature. UPS just had to reach an agreement with that because their people was on strike. Like, it's everywhere, and it's because of the knowledge that the employees have that they didn't have before, coupled with inflation, and life is just not the same as it was when they did sign their last contract. And they need some help, man. Somebody's getting paid $40,000. It was the time we was paying $10 for eggs, y'all.
Right.
We literally was paying $10 for eggs. That wasn't in the budget.
No.
That wasn't in shit. That wasn't even the people budget that's making it go. Like, listen, I live on the West Coast now, right? You live in California, you make $100,000, you still broke. So things ain't the same. $100,000 used to have you right, no matter where you lived in this country. That's just not the same anymore. So we have to make adjustments, and people are not standing for it.
Yeah. You made some very valid points. So I'm going to say hello to CL, hello to Carlos checking in. Good morning, you guys. How are you doing? Well, I guess it's afternoon on the East Coast. So how are y'all doing on today? But you make very valid points, Jay. The knowledge and information that's available to us at our fingertips, where we can really start to compare, what we're receiving versus what somebody else is receiving. We have that ability to do that now. We have the ability to research now. We can look at and see, how things are really faring in the market. People are way smarter than they were. And with the pandemic, right? We can't forget about you were talking about good old COVID-19. Okay. Mm-hmm. Good old COVID-19 just completely changed the world as we know it. And even though it seems as though a lot of people don't want to work, like, come on, think about it. You're going into your favorite restaurant, you're still struggling with long wait times, things aren't prepared properly. It's still one person working on an entire shift. Even though it seems like that, there are still individuals who take pride in their work and what they're doing, and they just want to make sure that they are fairly compensated. Now, and then you were making this point earlier when you were talking about business owners. One of the things that you said when it talks about scaling and growing our businesses is that we cannot do that without people. And if when we have reached a point in our businesses, you guys, where we are thinking about bringing on staff, and we should be, because that's really the way that we can grow to the heights that we want, we have to think about how we're going to pay them. Now, we know as the owners and CEOs, we want to make a salary. So we want to make sure that what we are paying our people is going to be fair and equitable across the board, so that they can be able to do what they need to do to their families. Because the truth of the matter is, and I don't know if you feel this way about the workforce, is that the workforce is just getting slimmer and slimmer. People really don't want to work. People have other options that's available to them now. So what's going to make it attractive for them to not only come to work with you, but to stay with you? And so to me, that's something that small business owners, entrepreneurs, especially those of us that's out here doing it for real, where we are bringing on staff and wanting to hire and take our business to the next level, these are all of the factors that need to be considered. So do you think though, Jay, that people that are starting business are thinking along these lines? Like, are we thinking about the employees that we'll need to grow to the next level, or are we just thinking about what we can create for today?
Oh yeah, of course not. They're not thinking about that. I don't believe that, not even a little bit. I believe that um, most individuals that start in businesses are just trying to run away from a job. They don't want a job. I mean, they really have painted a picture like the job is the devil, and they don't want to work for anybody. But I always ask simple questions because I don't need to be. I don't think it has to be complex.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're a business owner, who the hell can work for you? Because if everybody's doing their own thing, who's going to work for who? I don't believe everybody needs to be an entrepreneur. Not because everybody can't be. Everybody can be an entrepreneur. I don't think. Get my words. Need to be, because I think we should be at the space where we can be our best. Some people are best being number two, number three, number four, being a part of the team. When you think about the Dennis Rodmans of the world back in the day in basketball, Dennis Rodman had to be a good basketball player to make it to the NBA. And he probably was scoring in high school, probably was scoring in college, but he got to the NBA and he was not a scorer. Wasn't what put him in the Hall of Fame. He was an amazing rebounder. He was an amazing role player. He was an amazing defender. That's what made him be there. And everybody couldn't be Michael Jordan on that team, or he couldn't be Isaiah Thomas on the other team, or he couldn't be David Robinson on that team, or Tim Duncan on the other team. He had to be Dennis Rodman. He had to be a team player. And again, was he good at the other place? I'm sure he was. Otherwise, he wouldn't have made it to the NBA. But he was the best. He was a Hall of Famer because he played his position. And I believe that transcends and translates to business, but everybody feels like they just need to do their own damn thing. I just don't get that. And so when you start thinking about business and you think about scaling, you want to make millions and millions of dollars. Yes, you can get a six-figure salary on your own with your own business. But to be a millionaire business owner, or your business that average $1 million, you're not going to tell that story and say you did it on your own. That's going to be far and in between. Like literally, like 99% of people had people on their staff that was working with them in order for their business to go over $1 million. And so if you want to be that, that's what you're going to have to do. And to be the mega millions, that's what separates them. You might have 3 or 5 people working for you. They got 3 or 5,000 or 3,500 to 5,000. 5,000 people working for them. So that's what it is. And that's your profit. That's where your money coming at. Ask Walmart. Walmart pays. That's why they can do what they need to do in the marketplace, because they pay their people the least. They get their profit off paying their people the least because they sell everything cheapest. They're the cheapest people, but they pay their employees less. Now they got us as employees, making us do stuff for them. You've been there with me when I flip out. Like, look, y'all going and ring this up because I don't work here, and I damn sure ain't get no W-2 from y'all. So that's what that looks like. So, this is, people don't think about that. People are like, how can I not work? How can I tell myself what to do? But I just want to know, was your life great when you was telling yourself to do what to do in other times? Because sometimes it's not your plan. It needs to be, you need to get up underneath somebody else's plan and, find where you fit and just knock it out the park right then and there, man. So, that's how I feel about that.
So let me ask you this. Now, at one point, we were chasing 6 figures, right? Everybody, 6 figures, 6 figures, 6 figures. You even wrote a blog. It's 6 figures, the magic number for those that want to be in business.
Mm-hmm,
now, we've elevated from 6 figures to now we're 7 and 8 figures, right? Because, 6 figures, I guess, is no longer enough. And so, we have the millionaires, the multimillionaires, people have these visions. They have these visions. They're chasing this magical number. Okay. So chasing this magical number, buying into what, we see on social media. Why aren't we thinking more about the people that it's going to take for us to get there? Like, why? I mean, because you've said we can't get there without people, but why don't we start businesses with the people in mind?
Selfishness. And that's not what entrepreneurship is. Entrepreneurship is selfless. When real people, like serious entrepreneurs, start businesses, they're automatically thinking, you can't, first of all, you can't start a business thinking about how you can, what you can do. Immediately, the idea, the vision has to be bigger than you. You have to say, all right, I'm starting a cleaning business and I want to do commercial. And so, okay, commercial automatically lets you know that you can't clean a 10,000, 15, 20,000 square foot building by yourself. So it's like, all right, I'm going to need 3 or 4 people. I'm going to need somebody to do the floors. I'm going to need somebody to specialize in cleaning this. I'm going to need a supervisor. All that comes into play. When you saying I'm just going to make fried chicken, that's just for you. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
Like when you say I want a restaurant, that's for other people. When you say, hey, I'm just gonna make sure my dinner's on the weekend, that's for you. You see what I'm saying? So that's the difference. And now, everybody's with what I call side hustle soldiers. They're not business owners. And so, and to come back to the 6-figure piece, 6 figures is great. 6 figures is way bigger than 100,000. 6 figures goes up to 999,000. You know what I'm saying? So what side of the spectrum of 6 figures it is? Because it's not about the money you make, it's what you keep. What you invest, what you do with the money. There's a lot of people that make 6 figures and broke and living paycheck to paycheck. You know what I mean? So it's about navigating the space. When you heard Susie Orman say that the majority of Americans don't have $500 saved, that's some 6-figure people.
Yeah.
Don't have five. I mean, they make 6 figures and they can't get $500 without touching the credit card. You know what I mean? So it's a lot of people that walk around and live like that. So that's not the magic number. A million is not a magic number because the millionaire tell you that that's not as much as it was as you think it is, right? I think that's the threshold. Once you get to 6 figures, that's your threshold to start leading yourself into the millionaire space. And that's fine. But again, 6 figures is a long threshold. So it's okay if you make $500,000. It's okay if you make $600,000. What you do with it? What did you do with it? Is most of it going into taxes? Are you, got all the Louis bags you can find? You know what I'm saying? Have you been to every island you can think about? And do you have some stack? Do you own some things that's making money for you? Do you have to be at that space for the next 30 years? Because if you're making that amount of money, you shouldn't have to be in that space for the next 30 years if you're investing and doing what you're supposed to be doing. So it's just so much that comes with it. But bringing it back to this strike scenario, a lot of people just aren't making the money. The pandemic has shown them other ways to make the money. And then, people, the job market is great. This is why this economy really hasn't jumped into what they call a full-blown recession, because the job market is not bad. It's not hard to find a job right now. And they're paying more money, but it's just not these major situations because these are the people who they felt wouldn't go nowhere. They were comfortable in their space. But the hourly workers are hauling ass. They'll leave tomorrow. Yeah. It's the salary people they felt like the people that, the employers felt like they were set, felt like they wouldn't move, they wouldn't buck. And now the big time UPS workers, these airline pilots, all these major employees, they're like, nah, we good. I don't care if I got a salary and benefits and 401k or not. Right. Like, nah, I deserve more. Yeah. Oh, but the hourly workers ain't playing those games. They like, yo, I'm good. I go someplace else.
So when you sign up to work for a company, let's say like UPS, and you start off, I don't know if working in the warehouses, whatever. Let's say, for example, you work your way up to being a driver. So drivers make $20+ an hour, right? So when you sign on and you accept the position, you accept the salary, is there a certain level of a responsibility then that comes on the employee with that? Because if you accept it, then you know what it is. You know what I'm saying? So what happens, what changes during that time from the acceptance of knowing what I'm going to make and knowing what I'm going to receive and knowing my hours and blah, 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 till, oh, okay, no, this is no longer fair. now it's time for us to do something drastic.
A lot happens. You know that. Like a lot happens. You take see people go to jobs for the wrong reasons. People go to jobs just for the money. And that's why jobs have a bad rap.
Mhm.
And you can never be excited about a job because you just focus on the finances. So when they're going, that money is okay today.
Right.
If they're getting 25, 30, $40 an hour, that's okay today. That fixes today's problems. That fixes where I'm at in my life right now. But let's just say I'm single. 2 years from now, I got a boo thing and a baby.
Yeah.
And that one bedroom apartment is not working anymore.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? And the car, the clunker I've been driving to work is not getting it. You know what I mean? I don't have any money to save because now I gotta pay for her and I gotta take care of this baby. Now they coming back to you like, hey, look. Then you got inflation, which most people don't understand. And we talk to people about it, but I'll be perfectly honest, I didn't understand it.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't understand it.
Right.
Inflation meaning that your money, 2%, you're losing 2% or a little more than 2% of your money every year that you don't invest. So what I'll use it like this. My first apartment cost $450. My first one bedroom apartment by myself cost $450 over 20 years ago. I can go to that same apartment complex that don't look nothing like it is not as nice as it was when I was at 20 something years ago, and it's double. So that means if I didn't do anything with my life, I wouldn't have been able to afford to live there 20 years later. I wouldn't have been able to afford to live there 10 years later because the price kept going up. And so that's what happens. The expenses go up whether no matter what you do. You know what I mean? So you have to make sure that you're compensating your employees a living wage, and people get like government employees. Certain people, a lot of times they get bumps for that.
Yeah.
They get bumps and paid just for that because they know like what yesterday's price is not today's
Right.
price. And so depending upon different people's circumstances, that happens. But then they start, you have the heathen stuff. It's like, oh, this person got more money, so I should get more money. Or I know somebody else that worked for another trucking company, so they can get this. They work for FedEx, I work for UPS. They make $40, I make $35. I should get that. So that's that type of thing. Never mind that maybe that person is knocking it out the park and working in the best worker they ever seen.
Right.
They don't want to tell you about it. People go in a job and just expect that they're supposed to get a pay raise because they were there.
Right.
But if you go into a job looking at how you can learn something, be trained, and then also the second thing, looking to see if there's growth potential. The more you learn, the more you're trained, the more money you can demand. And if it's actual growth potential in that job or in that organization, that puts you in a position to gain more money and get more income. So, but people don't never talk about that. It's always how much they pay. If it's a room for you to learn and to be trained, and if it's a way for you, if you can see that it's growth potential in that space, you're not going in there at a spot where there's no promotion for you because you've gotten all the money. I came in here, I got $80,000, but there's no promotion. The next space for you is the CEO or the vice president, and they ain't going nowhere till they die. All they can give you is pennies every year if they do that. You know what I'm saying? And usually those are the people who get rid of quicker because they paying you a whole bunch of money. And once they figure out how to replace you, they can, keep other people in and split your job between two different people and say, hey, you're going to have some extra work. You're going to have some extra work. I'm going to throw y'all some extra money, but it's half the amount I had to pay him or her.
Right.
You know what I mean? And there it is. So these are things you got to think about when you're going into this job. Like, am I, learning? Am I going to be trained? And is it room for an upgrade in my position?
Yeah, I appreciate that though, because we have a lot of conversations, of course, about business and entrepreneurship. As many people call you the GOAT when it comes to business and entrepreneurship.
In my pocket, they're reflected.
Yes, it will. So, but we've also been having conversations about jobs and really looking at jobs. And I think you did a video even on your TikTok recently where you were like, "What's wrong with the job?" Like, oh, what's wrong with jobs? What's wrong with people having jobs? I know everybody's on the entrepreneurship wave, and everybody wants to be in business for themselves, and they want to create opportunities, and they want to get over the job, whatever the hashtag stands for, just over broke, I think is what I remember. So they want to get rid of that. They want to leave it behind. They want to walk away, and they want to step into this road of entrepreneurship. And as we see, many people aren't entering into this for the right reason. They haven't thought it all the way through. And the next thing you know, they're back at the place of where they started, which was the job. Okay. And there's nothing wrong with that. So we just, I think when it comes to like our workers, our staff, our businesses, when we see things that's happening in the world, it really should give us room for pause and cause us to ask ourselves some tough questions, especially if we are putting ourselves on that path. So there's nothing wrong with the job. As Jay said, you have to make sure that you are on the job for the right reason, and that you're really looking at it and how it's going to affect your life. Is it going to put your life in a better, on a better path, in a better or different direction? Or can you grow? Like all of these things. And I'll just tell you guys, when I took jobs, especially because I had my son earlier, I took jobs just so I can get paid.
Yeah. That's what we all did.
You know what I'm saying? I took jobs just so I can get paid. It didn't matter about insurance. It didn't matter about any of those things. Am I getting a paycheck on the 1st and the 15th? Is it going to be enough money to make sure that me and my son were provided for? Right? A lot of times, sometimes it was. Hey, sometimes I fell short, just depending on what the job was. But that's what happens. So whether in business or whether working a job, you got to make sure that you're choosing something where there are opportunities for growth for you financially and otherwise. So, again, as we started off with this video, making sure that you're paying attention to what's happening in the world, right? Paying attention, look at what's going on in the job market, look at what's going on in these billion-dollar companies. Right? Pay attention to what's happening in your world. Like we brought up about the teachers in Las Vegas. That's where we live, right? Jay has kids in the Las Vegas school system. How's that going to impact that? Like, this is what happens when people go on strike. You look at the trickle down effects that can sometimes filter themselves into your household if it affects you in that manner. So, again, let's just be mindful. Let's pay attention. Let's know what's going on. And if you're thinking about, going into business, or if you are an entrepreneur, we'd love to hear your thoughts on, how you're thinking about employees and staff. Like, what's your plan that way? And if you need help, of course, you can definitely reach out to Jay, and he can certainly, give you a consultation and advise you on what you need to do in order to take your business to the next level.
So. We ain't passing out the
the collection plate. Well, no, we definitely ain't passing out no cash out. But they done got fancy. They Cash App and Venmo and Zelle. They do PayPal.
Y'all never had to pay nobody. Ever had to pay me for coaching services through Cash App. But no, it's not. This is a family. I like just having conversations about this situation, and there's some people on here that comes on here that can coach me. I just think that we need to have these conversations more frequently. And because there's so much that we don't know, and so much that we move through the world just not knowing, man. We just be in the fog, and that's the scary part, man. We just be so uninformed. And these need to be the conversations that's happening in the barbershop. These need to be conversations that's happening in the beauty salon. These need to be the conversations that's happening at the dinner table, at the cookout. You know what I'm saying? Like, these are the conversations that need to happen. We need to be talking about stocks. We need to be talking about investing. We need to be talking about jobs, the right jobs, college, going to college for the right reasons, why you go to college, why you, how to navigate that space. I just was at my daughter's school, and, I was having a firm conversation about, how is this class going to help her, because she wants to go to college. And, we got to be on that now. We can't just let it be a lottery ticket and just, hey, maybe this kid will make it, maybe that kid won't. Like, no, you actually have control over making sure your kid make it. You have some God-like scenarios that you can't, control, but you have a lot that you can control. And if you don't do it, if you don't step into it, then, the rest is history. So we don't have to be poor. We don't have to be in a space where we don't have, living a life that we don't want to live. And nobody has to sell you anything for that to happen. It should be free. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm taken from a person who, that a lot of that stuff was hidden from me. You know what I'm saying? So my goal is to not hide anything from anybody else. The only thing I charge people for is something you're going to ask me to do. Now, if you want some information, hey, here's the information. Now, if I gotta do it for you, it's gonna be you're gonna get invoiced. But the information should be free. You know what I'm saying? Like, because the truth of the matter is, you can give people information, they still can't do what you do. You know what I'm saying? They still can't execute. So don't hide the information, especially not from your people. I put another video out about that. Like, what the hell is the big secret? Why is it such a big secret about how to get successful? Especially, I'm sorry for the people who not um, African Americans in this space right now, but there's in my community, we get successful and we like, all right, I'll tell you the information once you already made it up here. Like, nah, man, like, long as they not asking you to do their work for them, give them the information. Tell them. Tell them. Shout out to Los on here, man. I remember I got game from him. He said, look, I got all the game in the world for you. You just have to meet me at 5 o'clock in the morning. And Los will tell you, he was shocked because I pulled up at 5 o'clock in the morning because I wanted that game. You know what I'm saying? And I got that game, and that game was instrumental in changing my life. So I really, really appreciate that. But he didn't hide anything from me. I just had to come and get it from him on his time. And I did. So that's what that is. Never been charged for it. Never been, got an invoice with saying like, the game is the game. He didn't go out and do no work for me, but he gave me the knowledge. And that's what we got to do. We got to be open and ready to get the knowledge up to our people.
Yeah. Yep. So I put a comment for those of you that's watching this in the thank you, Carlos. We appreciate you. So we put out in the comments here, if you are a business owner, like answer 2 questions for us. 1, what is your plan for your business's growth? And have you thought about hiring staff? So if you're watching this video in the replay, please make sure that you come on and address that question with us. Like, let us know. We're all family here. We're all here to help each other. So if you haven't thought about it, what do you need to do to think about that? Okay. So, but we appreciate you guys for checking in. Do you have any final thoughts or comments?
Look, man.
Wow. What? I mean, so I'm DJing, he breakdancing.
Nah, man. Look, it's hot out here in Vegas. It's like 100 and something, whatever. You get delusional around here.
Y'all, the heat, like, I'm from the Southeast, right? It's be suffocating with the humidity. But this thing here is like you walking into an oven door.
It's the oven, yeah. I was in San Francisco last week, and it was 50 degrees cooler. When I got off that plane, and I was walking into the oven, I was like,
he said, I'm walking into the oven.
This is different, man. This is different. Oh my God, I had on jeans. Cause I was it was like 110 or something like that, 108, and it was over there like 65, right? So I had on jeans. And then I got to come out here into the oven. Like, I wish they was like the tearaway joints, like you have in the basketball.
Oh, yeah.
I needed it because I'm walking out there in jeans. I had my jacket on. I took it off. But I had a light jacket because it's, San Francisco, it stays like that 70-degree thing the whole time, right? And now it wasn't like that when you got back home. I was like, this is ridiculous. So, yeah, I'm looking forward. I got to go back to California. I'm looking forward because it's always a little cooler in California. So I can't wait. I'm going back next week. So, but no, I appreciate what I want to say to you. Good topic. Good topic. We need to have these discussions. Teach your kids about it, man. My daughter came home and said, the teachers was outside protesting. I'm like, yeah, that's what they do. So, and after I telling her, we have those conversations. So, yeah, man, tell your babies why these people are protesting. And we came to a scare, too. Because if they didn't make that UPS deal, oh, my God, this country would have been in some trouble if they didn't make that UPS deal. Like, our, shipping and everything. You lucky it went around Christmas time or something like that. But if they didn't make that,
people would have been on strike.
Yes, if they didn't make that UPS deal, it would have been. My grandmother used to say, a time in judgment. For real, man. So these things really affect us, and we just be going on to get along. Like, you gotta be informed. You gotta be informed about what's going on. I remember the old folks used to say that to us, and I used to hear that. Nah, so here we are, older, not old, but older folks, and we saying the same thing. So yes, please, ma'am, please, sir, stay informed what's going on in your community and see what affects you. Forget what's going on with Donald Trump and the presidency. Y'all know all about that stuff. It's so much stuff that's way more important than Donald Trump and Joe Biden and the RICO and all that other nonsense. get informed what's going on in your community and what can affect you. But yeah, it's lunchtime too, so that's another thing.
It
I'm
is
hungry.
lunchtime. I'm hungry as well. But listen, we appreciate y'all. Thank y'all for tuning in to another Star Talk Live. Stand tall and reclaim victory every day. So, we're talking about workers, we're talking about business, we're talking about jobs. So, my final words to you guys is how are you? Hey, Terrence, thank you for checking in. How are you going to reclaim the victory in your life as it pertains to whatever your employment status? All right. So, that's the question of the day. Reclaiming victory in your life as it pertains to your employment status, whether full time, part time, side hustle on a business. How are you going to reclaim victory over that? And if you are not connected to Star Talk on all of our platforms, that's on YouTube, youtube.com/@ gotta use that @ symbol, Star Talk. If you are not connected to Star Talk's Facebook page, just type in Star Talk into your search engine. It'll come up. Give us a quick like and a follow. If you're not connected to us on Instagram, y'all know we love the gram. Okay, we do it for the gram. Or was I doing it for the vine? I don't know.
No,
but
it's the gram.
we doing it for the
let people know
gram.
your age.
Hey,
divine.
listen, baby, black don't crack, and that's all I'm gonna say. But
divine, wow.
You remember that? But anyway, so at Star Talk on Instagram, make sure that y'all are connected to us there as well. So, any final thoughts from you?
Nah, man, do what she said. And hey, our Starve Talk, today's Wednesday, so a new Starve Talk podcast show is out right now with the lovely and talented Niecy J. It's an amazing interview, not just because I did it, because she's dope and she got an amazing story. You know, we do that Wednesday, every Wednesday, the Starve Talk podcast, new episodes come out, but you go to the page, you'll see clips from, before, now, and we keeping it going, but it's been very, very exciting.
Hey, Mr. Willie.
What's up? Hey, we gotta get together. He wanted to holler back at me, and he wants to come back on the show. So
nice.
Go back and check his joint out before. But obviously, he got some more to talk about, and that balling series that he has going on. So, hey, that's alumni right there. Yeah. Star Talk alumni.
I like that Star Talk alumni. I like that.
And we are moving this thing along. Star Talk been going on for more than a year, and we're going to keep it going. But again, this is something that we do, for our community. It ain't just for no celebrities and nothing like that. We have stories. We have trials and tribulations that we have overcome. And for my believers, they say we overcome by our testimony. And sometimes not our personal testimony, it can be from somebody else's. So I created a platform that we can, put those testimonies out there so people can consistently hear from individuals that they can put their hands on, put their fingers on, and they can know that it can be you that can overcome that. It don't have to be no celebrity. You don't have to have millions of dollars. You can overcome because you see people that look just like you that have overcame.
You better preach. Anyway, listen, you guys enjoy the rest of your week. It's hump day. We getting closer to Friday, baby, okay? So I don't know if you guys have plans for the weekends. If you do, make sure that you are staying safe. Stay hydrated, people. Stay hydrated. It's hot, okay? Drink your water, drink your Gatorade, get your electrolytes, or do things early in the morning or later in the evening when it's cooled off just a little bit, okay? Always remember safety first. So again, as Jay said, make a new episode of Starve Talk is out today with Niecy J. So make sure you check that out on our platforms. Wherever you listen to your podcast, we are there.
Yep. IWon'tStarve.com as well.
And IWon'tStarve.com. So make sure that you check us out. Check out our past guests. I love that you said Mr. Willie Starve Talk alumni. He has a powerful story, great and amazing book. So can't wait to have him back on again. So anyway, have a great rest of your day. We're going to grab some lunch here on the West Coast because it's lunchtime. Y'all on the East Coast, have a great afternoon. And we'll see you guys next time in our next live video. Peace.